Happy 1st of September, everybody. Hope everybody in America and the United States has a great Labor Day holiday off tomorrow. For those of you in the other countries, if you're not celebrating it, I hope you have a good day as well. It's been quite a while. Been extremely busy. I'm still extremely busy, but I finally got some decisions made, not by me, by the customer, on this CT660 project. It's not together. It's kind of in a half mock-up state right now, so I'm going to show you, but I thought I would start out with the shot of what it is going to look like whenever it leaves my facility. And so I'll do a couple little close-ups here, and then I'll kind of take stuff apart and show you what's going on. Had to pull this truck back apart. I had it stretched, but I didn't think it was going to look that good, and neither did the customer, because it was a little too long. So I had to pull it back apart, which is a surgical project in itself. It's kind of like the Matt Granite, oh, you know what moment thing. Yeah, well, it happened with this project too. Now, this time it wasn't necessarily my fault. It wasn't the customer's fault either. It wasn't really nobody's fault, but it just was one of those things that needed to be done, because the body was going to be way far back behind the cabin. Right now, the spacing between the back of the cab and the front of the fuel tank body is pretty decent. It's pretty pretty average, I would say. Certainly turned this truck into a long frame. This, even in the United States, this is going to be a Canadian truck, but even in the United States, this would be a pretty long wheelbase truck, just being a tandem without any tag axles. But it's going to look good. So go up here in the front, you can see the little space there between the back of the cab and the tank. Of course, the exhaust there. You can see the brass where I've stretched it. Kind of looks like it's sagging a little bit right there, and it probably is because of the weight that's on it. But of course, the frame hasn't been put back together yet. So we decided to add this fender, and you'll see a little white piece in there. That's just holding the fender up right now at the proper height. Had to make some trench cuts in the frame to so that the frame could accept the fender, and I'll show you that now. Again, I have to get the frame back together, and then once I get the frame back together, I will put the fenders on. But today I'm working on getting the trench cuts made in the frame for the fenders, so that that's all ready to go. I'm hoping to put this frame back together, if not tomorrow, sometime this week. And I'm hoping also, maybe, if everything goes well, to be able to get these fenders on so that I could fill the bottom of the frame in, because there's going to be a little bit of a gap. That has to be filled in, and then of course it has to be painted, which has come down to me. I will be painting the frame as well. So it's going to be, there's still a significant amount of work to do. Not nearly what the project started out to be. It's really blossomed into a much larger project. But I thought that this truck would look very nice with some fenders, and I already had the fenders. So I figured that, you know, it would look better. I don't think it would have looked real good with that fuel body, that tank body, with nothing to protect the underside of it, because, you know, in real life, tires throw stuff all over the place. If this would be a stainless or a chrome tank in real life, you definitely wouldn't want to do that, because you spend a huge amount of money to have that kind of a tank, and you don't want rocks and dirt and tar and whatever else getting thrown up on the bottom of your tank, you know, and destroying the finish. So here we go. Try to zoom in a little bit. That's how the fender's sitting on the frame right there. Little extensions. So I'm going to take this off, and like I say, you're going to see this little styrene strip that I had holding it on in place. So now what we have here is I had to cut a little bit of a gap in the frame there so that it could accept the hubs that are on the side of the fender. There's two of them, one at each end. And the reason that I want to keep those hubs intact is for strength. So I had to make some trench cuts back here in the back of the frame. Of course, I went too far with the camera again. Haven't done this for a while. It's going to be temperamental. Try that again. Had to make some trench cuts in the frame, both lengthwise and across. You can see I haven't done it to the other side of the frame yet. And of course, I'm going to be doing that later this afternoon. But what we'll do is take JB weld once the frame's back together and good and straight and level and all that fun stuff. We'll go ahead and slap a whole bunch of JB weld in those pockets that I've created. We'll stick that spacer, that styrene spacer, on each side so that the fenders sit level so that they don't like fall down to the outside, which is kind of hard for me to explain, but I can set the fender on there and you'll see what I'm saying. If I don't put that spacer on there, it'll look like that, and that is not professional, and nor is it correct, and so that wouldn't work. That is the reason for the spacer. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get all the modifications to the frame ready to go, put the frame back together. I will probably even put the centerpiece in the extension, the piece of brass that's going to go in between the rails there where it's cut out. I'll probably even get that in before I mess with the fenders so that it's as strong as possible. And we'll get the fenders set on there, make sure, get it mocked up again, make sure it's all cool and right and perfect and everything. And make sure that the tank body will fit right on top of the frame rails. That's one of the things you got to make sure that the fenders, the hubs that are going to attach the fenders to the frame, you got to make sure nothing is sticking up above the top of the frame rail. Otherwise, that tank body won't be sitting level. So it's kind of a complicated process. But we got to make sure that everything's done right and it's good and it's going to be perfect, because for the price of this customization, everything needs to be perfect, and I try to do as close to perfect work as possible. Nobody's perfect, but you get the point. Matte Granite project is going to be coming along eventually. You know, this customer is, I'm sure he's ready to have his truck back, and he's probably going to have another one for me to do here before it's over. So I got to get this done for him, and then I'll move back to my projects. Not much news per se right now. I know it's been a while since the diorama video. It's just been crazy, but that's a quick little CT660 update. It's really not that quick. It's already over 8 minutes, but you'll be seeing more of this whenever I get the frame back together and the rest of the excuse me, modifications made. It's hot today. It's very humid, and I don't like it. So once we get all the final modifications made, get the frame back together, get the fender set properly, we'll get those on, and then over the top of the hubs that'll just be sitting there, we're going to put some more JB weld in so that we make the frame nice and square again and flat and everything, so that it looks real good and the way it's supposed to, the way it did before I had to chop it up. And after that, after the fenders are on, it'll get all painted, and it'll be basically done. I'm not having anything to do with the tank, the installation, as far as I know. I am just basically stretching the truck, and the customer sent the tank as a reference, which is good, because you need as much reference material as possible whenever you're doing these things. So thanks for watching, guys. Go like the Mike's Models 2011 Facebook page if you haven't. Please subscribe to the Mike's Model Reviews YouTube channel to see more on this project, the Matte Granite project, the diorama project, and so many others. Have a good one, guys.